If you are one of the few still stuck under the spell that the Wachowski sisters wrote The Matrix, well, good news for you. I'm here to break that curse and introduce you to the true writer of The Matrix and Terminator franchise, Sophia Stewart. Sophia is a prodigy and has written mind-blowing books. Her book called The Third Eye sparked off all of the thievery from Hollywood. In that book, they stole both of her stories, The Matrix and The Terminator. After many years of court battles, she finally won her case, and I'm ecstatic to talk to her today, the actual Oracle, the mother of The Matrix, Sophia Stewart. How are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you very much. You gave an excellent introduction. I think it's the best one I've had out of 4,000 interviews, and I'm not joking with you.
Oh,
They need to know one thing, that I am the creator and the owner, but you expressed that early on, and love this. This is going to be a great interview.
beautiful. Yeah, let's jump right into the first question I have for you. I just want to know, where did you get the inspiration to start writing, and then what gave you the motivation to write The Third Eye?
Well, I started writing actually when I was in grade school. My teacher got sick for an undetermined amount of time, and they brought in actually a college professor to teach us English from the school, from the college. And he said that he didn't know anything about English because that was an English teacher that got sick. He said, but he was teaching writing. So he said he's going to teach us how to write. So that's why I'm a master writer to today, is because of him. And when I was at USC, I have a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology. Excuse me. I was inspired to write The Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator there. That's where it all began, at USC in 1980. What happened was, in 1977, I saw Star Wars by George Lucas. And at the end of the credit, I saw that Lucas, they had his name, that you could contact him over at 20th Century Fox. And so I was looking for him to direct my work. Now, they had already written up about me in 1981 in the Los Angeles Sentinel, which you could go into the archives and see. They're talking about Sophia Stewart is going to come out with the first Black science fiction with Black leadership roles. First of its kind, never seen before, ever. And so a lot of people, I try to direct them to go to the archives and get the real news about me, and not just go over the internet or YouTube or all the places on the internet, because the internet got some truth and it's got a lot of lies, got a lot of trolls, got a lot of innuendos, and just sometimes just garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you see, obviously, with today, with the Terminator and the Matrix, how do you see that playing out in today's environment?
Well, the continuation of my work, like you said, I've written several books and people are reading them around the world. And all authors, all they do is continue their work. As long as they're alive on earth, Michael Jackson, if he was still here, he would be eclipsing his own work. Because all you can do now, since he's gone, is mimic him, copy and mimic something from his work from 20 or 30 years ago. So as long as I'm alive, people are going to see more Terminator. They're going to see more Matrix. In fact, the Matrix 4, the fourth installment, Matrix 4 Evolution, because the first Matrix is the Matrix. Mm-hmm. The second is the Reloaded or Rebellion. And the third is Revolution. And the fourth, of course, is Evolution, because the machines have evolved into something greater than ever before.
How do you feel about them trying to still try to take your idea and make a Matrix 4 on their own?
It is a joke. Yeah. I'm cracking up laughing because my work is visionary. It's 100 years into the future. And I'm talking about alien technology. I'm talking about the second coming of the Christ, which is in Revelations, and like Terminator, End Time Revelations. And the word matrix is a Latin word for the woman's womb, her stargate or portal, because children or babies are going to be born out of that. And in the future, man will create his own children. Like I said, I wrote the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So in other words, in the future, man is going to create his own children that are going to go up against God's children. But these children is going to be seedless and soulless machines. We're talking about test tube babies, petri dish babies, artificially inseminated babies, hybrids. We're talking about gender benders, gender manipulated babies. We're talking about clones and drones. Like over in China, 300,000 of those drones, like blow up dolls, but now they're drone dolls, have been sold and married to Asian men. So now men are marrying their own machines.
Wow.
Yeah, can you imagine that in the future, that a man would marry a machine? I would have thought that man would have married his horse or his dog, as opposed to a machine, something metal, something robotic, something that has no warmth, no love, something that can't even return any love. It's just I guess what you would call what would you call something that you use to jerk yourself off?
Oh, vibrator or a sex toy?
Exactly that. Thank you. It's nothing but a giant sex toy or giant vibrator.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a man come to that where he does not know how to express love, to receive love, or is it all just about self-gratification and lovers of men, love of each other,
Yeah.
lover of self? Yes.
Now, I found this really interesting. Can you discuss your relationship you had with Muhammad Ali?
Oh, yes, I definitely can. It was in 1980 when I met him. He was 38 years old. And I had these dreams about him before I even met him. I met his bodyguard at one of the Lakers games because a lot of the Lakers were friends of mine at that time, like Jim Chong and, Cooper, and of course, the one that's married, Norm Nixon, to Debbie Allen, and just a whole lot of others on the team. And I was media. So I used to go see a lot of the Lakers games, and they would often leave tickets for me. And they were the ones who introduced me to Magic Johnson when Magic Johnson was a $25 million man. So anyway, I met the bodyguard. The bodyguard introduced me to Ali. Ali proposed marriage to me years later because we were together for 3 years, from 1980 to 1983.
Wow.
And he really taught me a lot. He taught me a lot. He introduced me to a lot of very distinguished people, especially in the industry, directors and producers and so forth.
Now, you said the Neo character was inspired by him. You based it off of Muhammad Ali?
Yes, because at that time in 1980, Muhammad Ali was the biggest Black superhero that was living in the world. And he was loved globally around the world. And what a greater inspiration than to have him as the Neo character. In fact, the studio people, when they read my book and my script that they adapted to all of these Matrix and Terminator movies, they thought, they tried to get Will Smith. Will Smith had played Muhammad Ali in the movie Ali with Spike Lee. And when the Wachowski brothers came and tried to explain my work to him, Andy and Larry, they didn't know what I had written. They thought the word matrix was just some cool word. They didn't have any idea that matrix was a 7,000-year-old Latin word that come out of the King James's Bible. And it came out of Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse. He who opens up the matrix, God said, coming out of the woman's stargate or portal, when the woman have the baby, the difference between a man and woman is a woman can have this baby. So this is what the Matrix was always talking about. God's children. You see what I'm saying? So they had no idea. So when they were talking to Will, Will was like, and you could hear Will on YouTube saying he didn't even know what they were talking about. Because if I was explaining the work to Will, I feel pretty sure Will would have taken the role. But it was fun because it was meant for Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves' father is Asian Polynesian. That right there and enough saying that God chose him.
Mm-hmm.
God chose him to play Neo, and he's done an excellent job, because Neo is just an anagram, a sneaky way of calling him the One. Neoone, one and the same. So John Connors grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix, and the Terminator is the prequels or the beginning of the epic story. The machines in the future, here's the oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born that's going to destroy them when they enslave mankind. So they have to time travel, because it's past, present, and future time travel, the way the Bible is set up. So they have to time travel to the past, because they know Sarah Connor is destined to be the mother of this baby, the One. John the Revelator was the only one to call Jesus the One. So now they time travel, coming naked without shame, coming through a burning blue portal. They're naked without shame because now in the future, the machines are wrapped in flesh. Look like everybody walking around here, killed but cannot be killed. And Kyle Reese hears the same prophecy. So he has the time travel to try to save Sarah Connor. And what happens is he inadvertently falls in love with her, gets her pregnant, but then he has to go back to the future from where he came. So now, in the beginning of the book, in the beginning of the movie, she's pregnant with this baby, and you see him in the second and third Terminator as he grows from a teenager to a man-child, and to the future, he becomes Neo in the Matrix. At 30 years of age, the rebellion or the war, revolution starts. The machines have progressed. He is older. He has to go to Morpheus for the training. He has to go to the Oracle for the prophecy. But now he's ready. And this is the opposite of Star Wars, because Lucas' work was talking about the wars in heaven and how Lucifer, or Darth Vader, the devil, fell from the light side to the dark side. And Leia and the son, the other one, what's his name? Leia and the boy, those are the devil's kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to me about some synchronicities that happened to you, and what manifestation means to you.
We all can manifest, and there's synchronicities, meaning that deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever saw the movie with Denzel Washington, Deja Vu?
Yeah.
Synchronicity means that things happen that's out of the unusual and out of the ordinary, but they add up. It means it was like it was meant to be. Like it was meant to be for my work to be sent to 20th Century Fox and to the Wachowski brothers. And it was meant for them to steal it, because I had fashioned it in a science fiction form, not biblical, not religious, but in science fiction form, because anything about God, they would have never put it on the screen.
Yeah.
But it being in science fiction form, mathematical, they only saw this simple little story and went crazy in a dead screen. And I try to tell people, no one gets creative control. I don't care if you're J.R.R. Tolkien's, Lords of the Ring. I don't care if you're Alan Moore, V for Vendetta, that's his work. Or if you're David Mitchell, Cloud Atlas, is his work. Or the Asian man, Speed Racer from the 60s, that's his work. We do not get any creative control. Whether Hollywood buys it or they steal it, they still adapt the work, sometime to perfection, sometime horrible. That's why some writers do not want their books adapted by Hollywood, because Hollywood refused to give them any creative control. One such writer is Zachariah Stitchin, which I was very, very fortunate to speak to him while he was alive. And he told his grandson, Chris, when the time came for his book of the Anunnakis to be adapted to the screen, he didn't want J.J. Abrams, he didn't want Spielberg, he wanted Sophia Stewart May that did The Matrix, because he was a big fan of The Matrix. He loved my work, and I spoke to him often.
You are a polymathematician. For those who don't know what that is, can you let them know?
Yeah, I'm a prodigy, because there are prodigies and there are geniuses. A prodigy is what you would label somebody like Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci. They're polymath. Poly means many. So that means that you can crack the codes on many math. So being a polymath and a prodigy, there are kids that finish college when they're 7 years old, 12 years old. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't do any high school. I took the New York Regents, went into college and got the degree.
Yeah, you were doing taxes at 11 years old. I heard one of your lives.
Yes, I was. And I was getting paid like H&R Block. Before H&R Block was ever even discovered, grown people didn't even know how to do taxes. So they paid me to do their taxes. I scored a 98 on the IRS exam, 2 points from 100, because their exams were mathematics. Plus I was doing 1099 OIDs when some of their agents couldn't even do those.
Wow.
And look, I beat several law firms. One law firm had over 100 attorneys, and they couldn't beat me in the Utah federal courts when I won the court case. And I won in Nevada also. They're covering it up and hiding it because they're embarrassed. Now, they sabotaged the first case. It was a RICO criminal case because the government violated my rights to due process of the law. They knew that these people had counterfeited my copyrighted book and script. My copyrights are 81, 83, and 84. Terminator didn't come out until the movie, until October the 26th, 1984. The Matrix didn't come out until March the 31st, 1999. Now, the government already validated the theft, and I got the documents to prove it, because I entered them into the federal courts of Utah. I entered them into the federal courts of Nevada also. But they did nothing. They did nothing about the counterfeiting. They did nothing about the RICO racketeering. So I had to file a RICO case. That is the case that they sabotaged in 2003, the 2005 case they're calling. That's where they sent 4 law firms claiming they come to help me, but they actually came to sabotage me and to stop me and prevent me so they can continue to counterfeit and they could continue to steal. And I fought on till my next case, which was filed in a federal court again, February the 7th, February of 2000, I think it was, no, June of 2007. And I won it September the 25th, 2014. I won that case and I got all of them. I got the 4 law firms, and I also got Andy and Larry Wachowski's Warner Brothers, and James Cameron, Gail and Hurd. All of these defendants, you can go and look, and the clerks and the judges were hiding all of this information from the public. The judges even committed criminal acts against me, saying they let out 3 of the law firms when they knew that one of the law firms, the lawyer of that law firm, Jonathan LaBelle, was dead. They still violated my rights to due process. Just because of this work, the Matrix and Terminator have grossed something like $35 billion globally around the world, and they hate it that I'm the owner of it, owner by copyrights, owner by books and scripts, and the continuation of these books and scripts on Matrix and Terminator. These people that are claiming that they wrote the Matrix and Terminator never had a copyright ever, never had no source work, putting in assignments to the Library of Congress, putting in constructive trust. A constructive trust is a shell company, a dummy company, where you can pass around my stolen book and script and sell it under the shell companies, Pacific Western Production, Hemdale Films, Halcyon, all of these different companies, Lightstorm, the James Cameron and Andy and Larry, Circle of Confusion of the Andy and Larry companies. These are all what you call shell dummy companies to pass stolen copyrighted work around. And it is horrible that this has been going on since.
Oh no. Hopefully we get you back. Just popped off. Just leave this here. Everybody bear with me. Woo, she was getting to the juice. All right. Let's just let's be awkward and silent together until she comes back. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just went blank.
Yeah, and when you were getting to the juice.
Yeah, that is so wild.
Yeah.
So true. But yes, this is so horrible to have been done to me. The counterfeiting, my rights to due process of the law violated, and me not discriminating against me because of my skin and my sex. Being a Black woman, you know what I'm saying? It's horrible that they do this to a Black woman in America, especially when I have every rights and under the Constitution inalienable rights by God. But yet I had to go through this horror from 1984, because that's when the movie is released. That's when the nightmare starts. That's when the infringement starts, criminal infringement. That's when the counterfeiting starts. So the counterfeiting has been going on from 1984, October the 26th, for the Terminator, and March the 31st, 1999, for the Matrix. And what they did at the FBI office, the agency hid my counterfeit theft case under some codes by some powerful senators, some powerful congressmen, some powerful politicians. Can you believe that? In all that confusion and trolls on the internet, they put all that out there, because if people knew what you're talking to me about right now, they would have their heads on a platter, because everything that's done to me and gotten away with will be done to you guys. They will steal your copyrighted work. They try to make it look like I didn't have any rights, no copyrights. They try to make it look like it was just infringement by contract. And I never met these people. James Cameron admitted to being a thief in the news. So these people already know who these people are. They knew at the Library of Congress, because under the penalty of perjury, if you apply for any copyrighted work, and that movies, which are derivatives, is traced back to the source work, the FBI has to come out and arrest you. So they couldn't ask for any copyrights because it's traceable. But they put in assignments and they said that they were writers for hire. And then Larry Wachowski said they were writers for hire. James Cameron and Gail Anhart said they were writers for hire and that they were assigning over dummy shell companies with the stolen script and book and passing it around to many investors and many thieves. In fact, the FBI said that they will come out and arrest these people. And when they do, they have to confiscate every DVD, every movie, that was done back in the old days, on those videos, tapes.
VHS.
They have to confiscate everything that was stolen and that they would have to pay me restitution because it's a theft case. It's a 295E. That is a code for theft. When they investigated those documents and Judge Evelyn J. First ruling that yes, it is a fact that they stole and used my work and they had it in their possession and that I am the owner and the creator of that work. And the FBI told me Judge First was a very good judge. Now, the other judges was crooked, Clark Wadoff, a Grandmaster Ku Klux Klansman, Brooke C. Wells, a cheap prostitute who sold her soul for money, sucked her way to the top. D. Benson, he was helping because his cousin got some of that money for president, to run for president. I'm trying to think of his name, but everybody knows his name. He got like $1 billion of the money, but he lost against Obama. So this money, and one of the little CPAs, when it was validated by 3 CPAs, a Japanese CPA got up on there and said that Warner Brothers and them lost $500 million on the Terminator. And that money was proven to be slush fund payoffs because the movie only cost $70 million, the first movie, $70 million to make. And it grossed over $1 billion because I did ABC, who broke my story nationwide to the whole world. I did 2 interviews with ABC. And they said they didn't care about Warner Brothers. They were going to break the story and put out the truth, which they did.
Wow.
I know this blows your mind because you're the only reporter that is asking the right questions, the right in-depth questions. The other people, a lot of them was paid just to come and interview me, to sabotage, to confuse, not to really break this story, not to get justice on this story, not to find out what these people really did. And what they're trying to do now is give people a fake matrix so they can get the money. But the FBI have told them they cannot call it the Matrix. They can't use the logo. They can't use Neo and Trinity's name. They can't use anything from the Matrix. That's why it's been sitting there now for 3 years, and they keep lying over and over in the media because the last Matrix was in 2003. And every Terminator, after the second Terminator or third, flopped because all they kept doing was redundance. All they kept doing was just like you copying off of Michael Jackson and Prince's old work from 20 or 30 years ago, over and over, the same moves. And people were tired of looking at that because they couldn't eclipse the work. All they wanted to do was greedy moves, is to make money and fool the public. And it's counterfeiting and it's extortion and it's putting liens on me when I'm the owner. You can't extort the owner for money. Then going into the federal courts of Utah, asking for $305,000. So to put me in a bind to pay that $305,000, if I don't pay it, then they would leverage it to get the copyrights, which are worth billions of dollars. When I first contacted them in '99, when I saw The Matrix, because the FBI didn't tell me about the Terminator till later on after the investigations.
Wow.
But I saw The Matrix, saw my work on the screen, was blown away because they had not paid me. Being a paralegal, doing criminal law, I contacted them. They knew that I was coming. They saw my copyrights. On my copyrights or the address. I'm from the Bronx, the Boogie Down in Manhattan. Right there on my copyrights, Riverdale, New York, and the Bronx.
Yeah.
My address. So they investigated me. They knew I was going to come one day, and they were prepared to pay because they knew that they committed a criminal act, and they knew, like John Gotti, that it was going to catch up with him one day, like Bertie Madoff. He has been stealing from 20 to 30 years, went to jail at 65, got a sentence for 150 years, just recently died in prison. Al Capone got syphilis, stayed in jail a long time, got out and died. They made him step down. His FBI director friend that he grew up with, he went to jail, and Whitey Bulger could not pay anybody to protect him. Went on the lam for 20 or 30 years. He and his girlfriend got caught, went to prison, died in prison as a snitch. Yeah, because people say, wow, they did stole for a long time. That 1984, that's 30 some years. Are they ever going to go to jail? Yes, they're going to go to jail. Will it ever catch up with them? Yes, it will catch up with you. Look, all the great criminals in history, either the divine, which is God, catches up with them, or they die in prison or shortly after.
Yeah.
Crime does not pay.
Yeah. Talk to us about universal law and, the karma, what comes to you, comes back to you and all that. What does that mean to you?
Well, that's what I was saying, that
Yeah.
people like Al Capone, he thought that he was never going to do anything. You see, he thought he was never going to go to jail. He thought nothing was ever going to happen to him. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why a lot of them keep stealing, keep committing crimes, because you get what you give. If you lie to someone, you're going to get lied to. If you tell the truth, the only truth can come back to you. You're only going to get what you give in this world, and nothing else is going to happen. So you need to do good. You need to do well. You need to create and build and help and heal, because that's what will come back to you. But you get what you give. Look around at everybody who has done some really devastating things and look at the end results of them, no matter who they are. Like I said, either divine justice catches up with you or the courts get you. Law enforcement gets you.
Yeah. One thing that you said that I really enjoyed, that is you described yourself as a scribe. For people who don't know what that means, can you elaborate?
Back in the day, biblically, there were the scribes, because at a certain period of time, there were no books upon the earth. As time trickled down, we took the trees and made papers, or we took scrolls, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, and we wrote on those, like the scrolls that Nero burned up in Rome. You see what I'm saying? But before Nero and Rome, and before us, there were these scribes, and you read about them in the Bible. They had these photographic memories and sight, visionary sight, or what you call insight, or sight to see. And they pass the knowledge down as time goes on through our DNA. And this is why we can access our DNA, which is coming from here, the brains. I'm ambidextrous. Ambidextrous means that I have the same strength in both hands. So I'm able to access both lobes of the brain. My third eye is open, got open when I was 3 years old. Now the Tibetan monks, they will groom different monks and disciplinary them, that they get disciplined so they can protect the Dalai Lama. And they're hidden behind petitions, and they see what people are coming, if they're coming for good, if they're coming to harm the Dalai Lama, if they're coming for evil, they know. And what happened is they open up their eye manually with a little stick or comes out, and they have them in this room, and they begin to see, sight, visionaries, stuff, gifts that the Bible speaks about.
That's what you see? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, this is a random one, but a lot of people think Obama was the first Black president, but I know you know that's not true. Can you name some of the ones before him?
Yes, I can. I want to express something. I got the Black Wall Street, and thank you guys very much for that. They've been talking about the Black Wall Street and the bombing of Oklahoma City at that time, when they stole and integrated at the same time the Black dollar, consumer dollar into that to the white economy. Well, a lot of people think that George Washington, because that's what's taught in school, which is a lie, that George Washington is the first president of the United States. But George Washington was actually the first white president. Before they had a White House, there was a Black House that got burnt down. And then the second house that you see now, they erected it and painted it white. And they came with the lies about George Washington and all of the white presidents. But there were 7 presidents before Obama. First one was John Hanson, the Moor. Moor means, for that word means Black. And after that, there were, of course, Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Eisenhower, Coolidge, and Hardin. All of these, you can look them up, Google them, Google the 7 Black presidents before Obama and look at them, and Abraham Lincoln. All of them were like mixed. Some of their fathers or mothers were Black, Native, just a mixture of Black blood. Some of them appeared white, or they look white, but Lincoln, he did not. If you go into the Library of Congress, you will see his actual picture of Lincoln that they hid. And also Tesla. Tesla was Black. Alexander Dumas was Black with the 3 Musketeers and the Iron Mask. There's a lot of people that were Black that they've been hidden. Look, Cleopatra was Black. She was half Roman and half Black. I told people, I said, many years from now, they're gonna paint whitewash me and say I was a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Really? This can happen because every 100 years, every century, people die out that knows the truth. And they went over to the Egyptian pyramids and started whitewashing the pharaohs. That's right, painting them white, changing facts, changing history. They've been doing this for a long time. What happened?
I was going to say with the noses, they take off a lot of the statues they find, they mess with the nose.
Yes, they do. This has been going on since the Renaissance period. Michelangelo, do you know he was paid thousands and thousands of dollars? And people, I want you to Google everything, not just accept what I'm saying, but Google and look up the facts. Look at everything I'm saying because I'm teaching you. I'm unplugging you out of the matrix. I'm giving you this choice of the red and the blue pill. take that red pill and see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Cut yourself and see that you bleed red. I don't mean literally cut yourself, but when you get hurt, red blood is going to come out of you. The machines, black and blue ink, black and blue oil is going to come out of the machines. You need to see the truth. You've been lied to with history. You can enslave a man. If you keep a man's history from him, if you keep facts from a man, you can make him your slave. But the moment he finds out the truth will set you free. Do you understand how important the truth is? It is to set the record straight. It is time for these people to stop lying. It is time for them to stop stealing. And it's definitely time for them to stop stealing from us. Everybody was giving a gift of creativity, a gift of creation, a gift to prosper their families, their legacy, their names. And no man upon the earth has a right to take that gift or that name or that legacy or the money from anyone. They didn't steal my property. They stole my money. My property is in my name and my copyrights. The derivative movies belong to me because everything that was stolen, I'm the only person that can give it a copyright. I'm the only person that can claim it, whether it's music, whatever is derived from the Matrix and the Terminator, from the Third Eye book and script. They're secondary. They're not primary. They didn't come first. It's just like me, the mother. I'm in the hospital, I have several babies, or 3 babies, or 2 babies. And a kidnapper comes in and changes their name, changes their clothes. He can't give them a birth certificate. That's all he can do is lie. I'm the only one that can, when I get them back, take them and give them a birth certificate. The derivative movies, give them a copyrights of ownership. And that's what I did. That's what I've done for others who paid me to take claim back to their work that has been changed into derivatives. You can take those derivatives back. They're secondary. The copyrights can be traced. That source work, that derivative can be traced back to the primary work. People need to know that.
Yeah, and you're working on some books right now. Can you let us know about your books?
Well, I've written several books on Matrix and Terminator, but what I'm working on now is the animations for the 4th and Matrix 4 Evolution, because as you can see, Tom Cruise lost $600,000 a day. Somebody got COVID-19. He had to shut down and quarantine for 2 weeks. You could actually lose your money like that and lose the project. So I'm doing animation because Spider-Man did animation and it was so great. It won Oscars and the kids, they loved it.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not put the 4th installment of The Matrix in animation?
That sounds really
Wrong
cool.
People love animations.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
That sounds really cool. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, it will be the super. Yes, I heard it. Excellent. I mean, this will be the first time it would be in animation, my work. It's already in books. It's already in movies. It's already in script form. Warner Brothers offered me $30 million for the shooting script to the real Matrix 4 Evolution. And then when I refused, they kind of got pissed off and said they could do their own thing, that they could actually fool people. And that's what the 4th installment that they're trying to pawn off on people, which they can't do anything because the FBI says they can make all the products in their world that they want. But when they try to release it for sale and they're using my logo, they're using my characters, my graphics, my special effects, my concept, they can go in and arrest them for counterfeiting.
Wow.
So the animation is perfect. Because of what's going on now, and animation is great.
Yeah. You can probably get away with doing a lot more stuff with the animation as well.
Yeah, it's safer, it's kind of efficient, it's quicker. And if you read The Matrix 4, I don't know, have you read the Matrix 4 book, Evolution?
No,
Have you read that?
I have not.
Well,
No.
why don't I give you a complimentary copy?
Oh, thank you so much.
And then we come on and I do a second interview on me.
Yeah, of course.
After you read the book.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing.
Yes, let's
Great.
do that.
Okay, great.
I'll have a copy sent. Which one do you like? Do you like ebooks or do you like physical copies?
I enjoy physical
Whatever you
copies.
want.
Yeah, I could send the shipping and handling, no problem at all. If you want to do a physical copy.
Yeah, I'll do a physical copy. And why don't I do this? Why don't I send you an ebook and the movie poster, which is a screensaver?
Yeah.
Also, why don't I just send that as a gift to you after the show?
Okay.
Because I want you to get started because you're going to be marvels.
Yay, I'm excited. Yeah, we can start to wrap this up. I'm so grateful for you to take this time. I had such an enjoyable time. I didn't want to, a lot of times with interviews, when something happened, people just kind of bombard you. Oh, what happened? But there's so much more great things to you that I wanted to let people see that and see how, amazing you are, instead of just talking about, the unfortunate lawsuit and all that you had to go through. So I wanted them to know about your books and what you're working on now. So I'm so excited to learn all that. So thank you so much. I'm very
You're
grateful.
welcome. I said, we'll do a part 2 and let's do a part 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And right after you read the book, and then you get to remember everything that you want to go into, because you are so great. I promise you are. I'm very direct. You can ask any of my fans. They've heard me on other interviews. And I just applaud you as a phenomenal journalist.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Sophia. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for doing this.
All right. Bye-bye.
You can take the red pill, or you can take the blue pill. Choose wisely, but take the red pill. Hurry up.